Where about that? Lady got me working. Where about here?
What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the H-Town Rundown. This is your boy AD. And I got my co-host in the building. I got Mike G, who just popping on. We got Jules in the building. We
What's going
got
on?
C-Roll in the building. What up? How are y'all doing? And we got two special guests, of course. We got our boy Larry in Stafford, and of course, we got Auntie Swan. How's everybody doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. What's going
Doing
on?
wonderful, doing wonderful.
You know I'm good, so it's all good over here in Stafford now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. So, there was some news, that hit yesterday. A polarizing. This is the polarizing episode, just so y'all know. Because we about to talk about a whole bunch of polarizing players and a whole bunch of polarizing topics. Nico Collins, one of the most polarizing players, has been talked about for a minute. Got an extension, 3 years, $75 million extension, with $52 million guaranteed over a 3-year contract. So shout out to Nico Collins getting that done. Well deserved.
Big money.
Wide receiver one.
Solidifying the future for the
Let me
Houston.
borrow $10.
Yvonne said, "Hey, Jules."
What's going on, girl?
Yeah, Swan. She said, "Hey to Swan,
How you
Chris, D,
doing?
Lindsay in the building. Lindsay and Larry. Who said I was upset? Can't the motherfucker be tired? Shit, it was a lot of shit going on.
Henry told him, pissed him off already.
Henry Noah. But no, man, it was a great extension. Good job, Nick Casario. Good job, Nico Collins agents. He did, like I said before, that Michael Pittman contract was the bar. So that Michael Pittman contract was the bar. So that to me kind of gave precedent of what we should have been expecting for a Nico Collins contract.
I mean, it was a fair deal. It wasn't a superstar deal as far as the top five. He has one productive season. He can trend to keep being consistent like he is. So $24 million a year, good sign about 3 years. I mean, it's what you have to do to keep your guys. You drafted him. He had a good reputation with his quarterback. He's shown that it was the quarterback, not him. That
What?
why he didn't produce the numbers he wanted the first 2 years, and he was relatively healthy all season last year. So it was a fair deal for somebody you want to keep because you only had one more. This is last year. You got to do something with him, and you didn't want to franchise tag him for 1 year.
Did you just say it was him and not the quarterback? Is that what he said?
I think he's saying Mills, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We ain't talking about CJ. It's the damn Davis Mills, man. Look,
But Jules, it is top 7 money for wide receivers. It ain't.
was Swan in a year and a half when T Higgins get paid, when damn not Debo, what's his name? Ayuk get paid.
Okay, be top 7.
Now all that is
top 10. He'll be top 10 still.
It'll be top 15.
No, because you got Justin Jefferson, then you got Jamar Chase. You got Jamar Chase. Ain't your boy did Waddle get paid yet in Miami?
Not yet. Waddle about to get paid. So, like I said, it's gonna end up being more of a team friendly deal.
Yes, sir.
In the long run,
we like those.
Yeah, and just to Nick Casario's credit, it is a Nick Casario special where the cap hit. I think Spot Track just came out with the numbers and all the details. And in the third year, it's only a $4.25 million dead cap hit. to cut Nico. So if Nico doesn't pan out, his original cap hit is $26 million for that year, but they can cut him and save $22 million in cap just by cutting him on year 3. So, like Chris said before, it is an $18 million cap hit next year, not this upcoming season, but in 25, and then it goes to 24 and 26.
Well, I always had him pegged talent wise at an $18 million wide receiver, and he kindly outplayed that statement very easily last year, which I'm so proud to say he did. And I'll take the approach. I think Larry took it yesterday as well, and he continued to take it. I took it, not you, Larry, but the other Larry.
Larry Payton.
Yeah,
Larry Payton and I started off with that same sentiment was, let's see him do this for another year before we give him this money. And I think what we saw yesterday was the fact that Nick and D'Amico were confident enough in saying, we've seen enough. We know we've got a quarterback that's going to be able to get him the ball on the regular, and he showed us last year in that 1 year that he can make every catch that was on the field, and I think we saw that. I mean, there was times in the last game of the season when we played Indianapolis where he was the only receiver left. Tank Dell was out, some of the other guys was out, and CJ was scrambling around trying to get him the ball. Yeah. And in the first play of the game, he showed him that he's one of the best deep route runners. And he can go up and catch the ball, running full speed, 74 yards down the field. Then another play, he's scrambling around and he tries to throw the ball, damn near throw it away, and puts it in a place where only the receiver can catch it. And he slides on the ground and makes the catch.
Yeah.
For a 6'4" guy, that's pretty remarkable. So I think he's done everything he needs to do to get paid, and I'm proud that he got paid. The waiting an extra year to see what he can do, fuck it, that's out the window. That's
pretty much.
Let's move forward. You know what I'm saying? Let's move forward. It's one less thing to have you worried about how we're gonna pay this guy, right?
Right.
So
let me follow up on that, Chris. It's good to be on with y'all tonight too, man. To chop this up, man. So, the content has always been 100, and everything is about to ramp up because we're getting closer and closer to that time to shine, man. But to follow up on what you were saying, Chris, man, if you really think about it, in this league, you need a big body wide receiver, right? So if you look over there on their roster, everybody, it ain't the only other person over there that looks like Nico is Hutch, right?
Right.
I think Hutch, and then your boy, I can't remember the other wide receiver they had down on the practice squad.
You're talking about Jared.
With Wayne. Yeah. So when you got a big body receiver that can body up these DBs that they about to be facing, and he ain't afraid to go across the middle. He ain't afraid to, be physical. The thing about what Nico, how he earned that, man, because he did a full transformation on his body and everything last season, right?
Yeah, he did.
And so when you see somebody making that kind of commitment, man, to the game, man, and showing you that's how important it is to him, and then you got the trigger man saying that he's special. We've been in that position where we let go of a special ass wide receiver for David Johnson, right? And so getting Nico under this kind of deal, man, so that it don't affect nothing you do when it's time to sign CJ and Will, man. It's just you do these kind of deals, man, because like AD said, it's a cap friendly deal. And that takes you out of being in a position where you got to be out there taking somebody else off, picking up somebody else off of somebody else's tree, man.
Right.
So the money and all that is gonna be is relative because we all understand we want to be paid what we worth. And Nico wouldn't make because I think he did an interview when he did his camp. He said he ain't worried about it. If he played for the $3 million, I play for the $3 million. If they take care of me, they take care of me. So that tells you just from that standpoint that he understands what his value is and what the game is. But it also, like you said, speaking of D'Amico and Nick and all them boys over there, they understand that if we're going to make this run that we're trying to make, we don't need nobody over there tripping about money. That's what's going on with the Astros, with Tucker and Bregman and all them boys.
Right.
You want everybody bought in. So
Larry, that's what they did. They did that with the running back Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They did it with Diggs.
Yes, sir.
They did it with Dalton Schultz.
Yes, sir.
They brought these guys in. Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to eliminate any kind of distractions that y'all might have that's going to derail this thing because the main thing is the main thing. And we know CJ is the main thing. And when his $500 or $600 million deal come up, we ain't gonna be tripping on that neither.
We never had to face the main thing in a long time.
Exactly.
So they cleared all the bull stuff out the way.
Yes, sir.
No worries. You go home, take care of your family, eat your vitamins, your supplements. Make sure they checked out from the NFL. Come on, go and cash that check we about to get.
Yes, sir.
And
all your veterans are paid. All your veterans are paid up for next 2 years.
Yes, sir. They all locked up.
Laramie, Titus, all of them.
Shaq Mason,
Joe Mixon,
Joe Mixon, Danico Autry,
Daniil Hunter,
Aziz,
Tank, Will Anderson.
So if you put down the core of this team, they're either on a 2 or 3 year deal or they're on a rookie deal for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yes, sir.
Taking care of.
So next year, you don't handicap yourself when you got to do that massive ass deal for Stingley.
Right.
Because if Stingley play all 18 games this year, y'all might as well buckle up, man.
Right. The question begins to shape.
Should have said all 21, Larry.
Yeah, that too. My bad, AD.
The question shapes in the form: who's next to get paid? And if it's next year, how valuable or how important is this year for us to make sure we accomplish something with this window that is beginning to open?
So when you look at it, in the totality of the situation, that the guys that you're talking about getting paid next year, that doesn't take effect until 26 or 27. So guys like Stingley,
okay,
if he needs to get paid, his extension doesn't start to 2027.
So it'll be him and King Green.
Okay, why you laughing? Motherfucking King Green come out here and do something. He gonna get paid. Now, are we saying King Green is gonna get a top guard money? More than likely, no. But he's going to, if he plays well, he's gonna get extended.
Yeah, Mechie too.
That's the same thing with Petrie. If he
are they gonna pick up his 5th year option? They can do that,
right?
And then buy him some more time to do that. But I think don't Christian Harris come up next year too?
Yeah. Christian Harris. Now, see, that's the thing. That's the difference. You have 1 extra year with Stingley and King Green. You can put them on 5th year options.
Yep.
Right. And that's what that goes back to the 2027. But guys like Mechie, guys like Christian Harris,
Davis Mills,
Damian Pierce.
Stop it.
Huh?
Stop it.
What did you say?
Stop it.
Damian Pierce is another one. All of those guys.
Stop it.
They're gonna get contracts. They have to get paid next year.
Who got to get paid next year? Mills and DP or not
Mills,
get
not
paid?
Mills
Mills,
go
man.
off.
Let
Oh.
it go. Let it go. Look
No,
at that
that was Mike just throwing that grenade in the room, man. It
Yeah. He threw that stink. He threw that stink bomb up in there because everybody's still fanning.
So here we go. Larry Payne said, "I believe rookies are not eligible for new deals until 3 years completed." That's what we're talking about when we're talking about
Right.
Stingley, Kenyon Green. All of those guys are going into their fourth year.
Yeah.
Third year or whatever, and then next offseason they'll have 3 years completed.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about, starting with those guys being next up to get paid. Christian Harris as well, he's going into year 3. John Mechie technically is going into year 3, even though he's only playing in his second year of football. But all of these different things, playing to fact, and it kind of streamlines and it keeps going on because the next year, after Stingley and Mechie and all those guys, then you got this year's draft. Where you got to see, now it's time to pay CJ.
But it's like
CJ's contract, just so everybody knows, his contract extension isn't going to start to 2029.
Yeah, with the fifth year option and
Fifth year option.
and extension.
His contract isn't going to start until the 2029 season.
And I'm sure they'll make his contract work to where
it's going to be
he'll be able to adjust it throughout 2030, 2034, 2035.
Look, Lindsay said it best, do it like Mahomes deal.
Exactly.
It's a 10-year deal, and you can maneuver it.
There you go.
Exactly.
And
And it don't handicap you from going out and continuing to add to your run. But that's why this season and next season, I don't really get into the whole Windows thing, but again, they have pushed all the chips in the center of the table, man, because you telling, like we said, all your veterans locked up. You got a lot. You got a young core that you ain't having to agonize over re-signing or whatever. So it's gonna be imperative on them to be able to make they run now, and that's why you do these kind of deals with Nico. You go back and you pick up Dalton Schultz and all these, because we talked about this before. The windows for 5 and 7 year deals and all that, they don't do those no more, man. You looking at 2 to 3, man, because when the Texans were in salary cap hell, man, just think about the bums we was paying all that money to, man.
Right.
And they ain't gonna let that happen again.
Right. So I do want to move on because I don't want us to just keep harping on it, because we went away from Nico. Now we talking about everybody but Nico. So I do want to talk about the Texans had a season ticket member event last night, and 3 people in this room right now were at the event. Me, Swan, and Larry and Stafford were at the event. Where they had D'Amico Ryans, Nick Caserio, Andre Johnson, Mark Vandermeer all speak, and basically do another town hall with the fans, asking questions and everything like that. I want to get Larry's thoughts and Swan's thoughts on the event. What do y'all think about it?
Can I get a picture of DJ first?
We ain't doing that.
we gonna let ladies go first. Swan, do your thing.
Actually, the event was very, very good. I didn't think they would surpass what they did last year because it was the first one they had did like that. But Nick Caserio actually has a personality, which was interesting. I like the questions. I don't recall any 2 really goofy kind of questions. I mean, I like the question the fans asked. One of the things that was interesting that Caserio mentioned was that Nico's deal was 6 weeks in the making, because he said he was glad it was over with. So apparently they had been working on it. So that's another reason why Nico could sit back and say, hey, if I play on this deal, if it's next year, he knew what was coming. He had been one of those good Texans. I just like the energy, the excitement, the uniforms. You saw plenty of folks wearing the new, drip. I was one of them. Had my CJ H-Town on. I saw all 4 jerseys worn by fans. I'm sorry. Those jerseys are fire. in person. So whatever you're looking at on your TV or phones or whatever, it don't do it justice. And AD and I was looking at the helmet last night. It is that candy paint. It is fire. AD said he was gonna get it until he lift that box up.
I saw that damn price. Ain't no way in God's green earth I'm paying $600 for no helmet that I ain't playing in.
You saw that number, didn't you?
Yeah, you go, oh yeah, I gotta get this. I gotta get this.
It don't get that good. I'm not buying no damn. I buy a fake one. I'm not buying no authentic helmet for some shit I ain't even about to put on my head.
Nah.
So y'all can miss me with that. But now, like Swan said, the uniforms, they actually had a layout of the game jerseys, the actual game jerseys, not the ones they sell in the store, but they had models of the game jerseys, and you can see the details. You were able to even actually touch and feel the texture of the jerseys and see the quality and the difference and how it's going to look on game day. It's going to be totally different, and they're awesome uniforms. So
Swan, you done or you got some more?
Oh no, you go ahead.
So just to piggyback on that, I'll start with the uniform since that's what everybody. So what they had on those models over there is exactly what we saw when they took us in to let us see them, right? And we was having these conversations about, hey man, we don't know what the uniform's gonna be like or whatever, but when we saw them, I was like, man, you just have to be hard pressed not to like the effort they put into to come up with something that was going to be representative of the city and just make everything flow the way that, I mean, just the little intricate details that they did to it, man. It just makes you proud that that's your squad, right? So everything about yesterday and last night at the season ticket meeting, like Swan said, the energy was just on point, man. Because I think even last season, even with CJ and D'Amico and everybody, man, there was still some hesitancy, man, to buy in, right? Because we had gone through that experience, man, of that darkness, man. But we knew we had a quarterback. We knew we had a head coach that understood and played the game and coach defense the way that we like the game to be coached. But there was still this, when we had the season ticket meeting last season, it was still kind of, everybody was still kind of skeptical or just trying to just wait and see. Then we go off and make the playoff run. So the one we had last night, everybody bought in. It was no hesitation. Everybody that I interacted with or talked to or whatever, you could just see it. Even your boy 713 Ruben and Patton and all them boys, just the energy, man, about what everybody was feeling is why I keep saying, man, that's what the city been wanting around here. Even in some of our better days where we had decent squads, this is the kind of energy we was looking for, because it seemed like, to me, and this is just my opinion, that everybody is leveling up at the same level, man. Everybody is like, okay, whatever the energy is that we trying to do, the Texans over there as an organization is doing the same thing. So it's an all-encompassing fans, team, business side, everybody, because they are determined not for us to have that kind of drop-off that we had. Because you talking, we had 20 plus years of everybody buying in, even when we was losing games like crazy, 4-14 or 4-12. But this time, that drop-off after we went through that dark period, man, they don't want to ever experience that again, because that was almost franchise crushing. And I've had these conversations in those fan councils or whatever, and I'm not capping on that. I'm just saying, we've had these conversations about how they made the fans feel irrelevant with that shit that they did, man, in 2021-22.
And Larry, I will say this, because they did have Andre Johnson on there.
Yeah.
And Andre was this close
Yeah.
going and really going off and going ham about the situation.
Yes, sir.
He did explain about his situation with the Texans, where he was an assistant coach under Bill O'Brien, and how that scenario and how he didn't agree with everything. And, he tried it out for a year and then he was going to come back. He had signed a contract extension to come back and coach the next year.
Yep.
And he saw what the hell was going on in that locker room and he quit. So Andre Johnson quit on the Houston Texans because of the shit Bill O'Brien and Jack Easterby and everything that was going on in that locker room. He just couldn't take it. And he was about to spill the beans, but I think he had to reel himself back because he realized he was on the Texans platform. So
Yeah.
he couldn't go in. But if he was asked that, posed that question on something like the pivot or something like, outside of the Houston Texans platform, where it's just a regular conversation, you would get the real information how bad it was. And for Andre to speak the way he spoke about it,
Yeah.
the shit was just bad. It was downright,
Yeah.
one of the worst situations in football history.
Well, and like I said, it was almost franchise and fan base crushing, man, because they was, and this goes back to what you're talking about with Dre also, man, is that it validated what everybody around the city was feeling, because if Dre was saying how bad it was, man, and he was actually in the room experiencing it, then that tells you that what we was out here screaming. And, because I was saying almost every day, I'm like, man, this show feel like the Texans don't give a damn about the fan base with some of the stuff that they was letting happen. And Dre kind of validated that, because they was feeling it on the inside too. But for Dre to walk away from the squad, so they ain't done the whole 360, man, where they make the change where they value. We don't get much input in terms of the kind of decisions that they make.
Larry,
But
this comment for you. He said Bill O'Brien would have made Jose Abreu the starting quarterback.
hey, man, hold on. But it validates that they knew that they had lost a huge part of that fan base, man. And now to see how everybody came back last night and last season and really embracing, it's easy to get behind D'Amico, man, because he got the pelts on the wall, because he earned it from the bottom moving up. And then you see CJ playing ball the way he played ball. So you can buy into that, and then you start seeing the moves that they're making on the business side and on the player development side and all that, man. It's just that feeling, man.
Because now when you see moves being made, you don't panic, or you don't go like, oh my gosh, let me go see what this is. Or if a trade is made, you're not freaking out that, you got taken to the woodshed. I mean, there was some on-the-job training for Nick in the beginning.
Yeah.
But what I will respect with him is when he makes a mistake, he has no problem moving on from it. He's not prideful enough. I'm gonna hold on to something so that it doesn't look like I made a mistake. It is what it is. It's football, and you're moving on. To the next. Okay, what's plan B? C. We moving on.
Well,
And that part I do like.
Well, you have to give him 2 years of the Mulligans and just see, because we were in cap hell. We didn't have no draft picks. We was forced to take Davis Mills and our first pick in his first draft. He didn't really have no coaching staff. He walked into a big mess, and we gave him a hard time for 2 years, and we didn't know
I'm
what
saying,
the
I
point
like
was.
how he came out of it.
Right, he came out smelling like roses at this point.
And that question was asked of him regarding, did he see it being what it is right now as fast as it turned around? And the other question was, regarding taking the job based on what he was coming, into. And he basically said he welcomed the challenge. But I think he's built for it. And you finally got the right coach. To me, this is the first time I can say we are good top to bottom. Your good ownership is good, not cheap, never have been, but they don't have a problem spending money. They did listen to the fans. You got a GM that you feel like, hey, I got a good GM here. You got a damn good head coach. You got a quarterback. I mean, you got players. I mean, it's like all of it. It's not one part that's weak, because usually it's like, okay, well, we got the squad 2011, but Schaub got hurt.
Right.
You know. Go ahead.
Well, it's just about trust, man. That trust and all that collateral that they have built up for over 20 plus years was just destroyed, man, because you, even with Nick coming from the Patriots and things like that, there was just this level of distrust that was just thick over there on Kirby, man, and they had to do a lot of work to try to get that trust back. And you see it now. I mean, y'all saw when Cal and Hannah came out there yesterday, man, and
that line for folks to take them pictures.
the line, yeah, that shit grew fast, man, and you just see that they not walking in that shame anymore. Now they just really embracing. They really embracing what it's about, and it's about winning a Super Bowl. And I think a lot of that just plays into that they know that what it would do, not just for the fans, but for the entire, for the entire city, and then what their plans are for the organization moving forward. And they got bigger plans than just what's going on now.
Man, let's be honest.
Remember what
When the Texans,
said?
if the Texans win the Super Bowl in the next 2 years, it's gonna be a 30 for 30.
First of all, let's talk about it. They ain't made a damn 30 for 30 in about 10 years.
Yeah, this Rockets gonna be a 30 for 30 if they win the Super Bowl within the next 2 years.
You know, to the comment that King Foker just made, he said with the Rockets and Texans both being bad at the same damn time, it was hard for the Houston sports scene. If the Astros didn't win the World Series when they did, it would have been horrible, man. But yeah, I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff we can talk about, man, as far as that whole situation. But as Texan fans, we got to remove ourselves from the past,
yeah,
and embrace the future, and embrace the present and the future.
Right.
We have a Super Bowl. We have a Super Bowl caliber team, Super Bowl caliber team, and it looks like the way it's constructed for multiple years. This ain't just a one trick pony type of, situation. This team is built for multiple years in advance. So as Texan fans, as a fan base, we all should be excited. We positive, excited. And it's so positive that you get into the debates on the group chat. Shout out the group chat today about how much production can this offense actually produce. With CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz, a healthy offensive line with Titus Howard playing right tackle, and Juice Scruggs playing center. The emergence of John Mechie, Damian Pierce on the quote unquote comeback year,
Jawar Jordan,
Cade Stover. I mean, just the list goes on and on of just weapon after weapon after situation after situation. This offense is bound to have, even adding Ben Skoranek, this offense, and you still got Andrew Beck, still got Brevin Jordan. You still have all of these different pieces, and it was some comments. Shout out Pastor, shout out Glenn, shout out Barrett, who kept the conversation going in the group chat. The conversation was, I think it started out with asking, do you see Ben Skoranek getting over 400 yards receiving this year? And, to the point of, I think Glenn comeback was like, how? Like you have all of this, like there's on, in basketball, they always say it's only one ball.
Yeah.
Everybody can't touch it. So same thing goes in football. All of those names I just listed.
My
Like, go
You
ahead.
only
Go
run
ahead,
about
AD.
60. You only
No,
run
I'm
about
saying all of
65
that,
plays a
huh?
game. You only run about 65 plays on offense.
Right.
So,
And
so
so
I
yeah,
mean,
and you got to run the football. So I could
I'm
see
saying Joe Mixon got to get his.
Joe.
Jawar got to get
So
his.
I brought up a stat outside of our top four receivers or top four receiving options, which were Nico Collins last year, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, and Noah Brown. Everybody else combined, receiving wise, because we're talking about just receiving right now. Receiving wise, only total 893 yards. And that's the rest of the tight ends, the running backs, the rest of the receivers. That's everybody outside of those top four. Noah Brown, Robert Woods, top five. I'm sorry, Noah Brown, Robert Woods, Dalton Schultz, Nico, and Tank. That the rest of your offense was limited. And you're talking about 800 yards between 10 players. Xavier Hutchinson, Steven Sims, John Mechie, Damian Pierce, Devin Singletary, Mike Boone. I was trying to get as many yards as possible. Tegan Cotoriano, Brevin Jordan, Andrew Beck, like all of those guys only combined for 800 yards. So like the expectation of a offensive explosion, I know we're excited, but we have to really back a little bit too. Because I'm like, if you expecting Ben Skoranek to get 400 yards, Glenn made a point. Either one, we got a lot of injuries, or two, CJ throwing for 6,000 yards.
So I look at it. I look at the analogy of when it's Thanksgiving, man, and you start pulling the foil back off all the pans in the kitchen, and you walk up there with your paper plate, man, and you stick a spoon in every one of them pans and try to get it all on your plate, and it's just too much, and then your ass don't, you full as a tit because you and they got so much. They got so much, and so it's going to be interesting to see exactly how Slow and Gerard do this thing, man. Because you're right, unless y'all just unless the Texans are just going to go zero huddle, zero tempo, and just everything is just run and shoot. It's just, and that ain't the kind of offense that D'Amico mimics because we saw the same offense or the same kind of situation in Frisco when they had all that talent they had in Frisco. And some of them boys didn't have the kind of numbers that they probably could get somewhere on a team where they the primary thing because you have no choice but to be diverse in your offense. So, but that's a
They
good
were
problem
limited,
to have.
but they were limited. Okay, they were limited at quarterback. So that they've never had a CJ. So I mean,
Who you talking about? Frisco?
they've never had that quarterback.
Well, they
to
never
happen.
had it, but the system, like the system has always provided, and I'll touch on that in a second. I want to address this real quick. I want a sidebar. Houston Stress and shout out him. Garrett said Skoranek receiving yards by season is 133, 376, and 66 yards. So he's never had over 400 yards receiving.
Yeah, I was
I
just
don't think they brought him. I don't think they brought him here for that.
no.
Right, and so to the point about the offenses and stuff, Swan. Look at all those years. We look what we did with Matt Schaub, Swan. Do
Uh,
you think Matt Schaub is?
he put up some yards.
That's my point. Is that even though they didn't have the caliber of quarterback, that still that wouldn't have limited the offense because the offense is the offense. The
Yeah,
Shanahan offense is Shanahan offense. It's
exactly.
gonna run. We won a whole damn playoff game with TJ goddamn Yates. Like, let me like the offense is gonna run and it's gonna run well, especially if you have talent at the positions, regardless of the quarterback. Will this offense, if it's run similar to how Kyle Shanahan runs it, similarly with CJ at the helm. Should this take it to another level? Absolutely. How much more of a level is the question that we gotta figure out, and we're gonna learn this season. Once
Yeah.
again, um,
I think the
Barry
core
said,
was. I think the core still of what we saw last year. It'll still be Tank. It'll still be Nico incorporated with Diggs and Dalton Schultz. I think that is how, and Mitch will be mixed in there. I think that's how you're going to see the offense. I think the other guys will be worked in, but I don't expect big numbers from Ben. I don't expect big numbers from Cade, but I expect to see them put up, couple of 100 yards. And I figure the second part of the season is when you'll probably see them incorporate a little bit more. But I think from the beginning, you'll see the same guys that are the mainstays.
mm-hmm.
Well, but you brought in, you already had playmakers, and then you brought in more playmakers. And the thing about it is that with Frisco, and not even Frisco, but just even what we saw last season with D'Amico and Slowick and CJ or whatever, even when they weren't hitting on all cylinders, he was putting up numbers, right? But now you're gonna have this opportunity where everything is gonna be. It ain't no more. My point is, it ain't no more holding the playbook back and not just holding CJ back and none of that kind. Not that they was doing that. This is gonna be an opportunity for they gonna put as much on his plate and let him conduct his orchestra, because everybody, there's a section in every part of it that they have talent that's going to be able to keep the chains moving so they don't get bogged down. Because I think Barry did just say it, and that's a valid ass point, was when we get down to inside the 20, we didn't have a big enough back that can get us across the goal line or whatever. You ain't going to have that problem with Joe Mixon, man, because one thing he do, he feasts in the red zone once he gets close to it. So you're going to see a lot more of the run game, I think, and that there may be some sacrifices in the passing game, because to be honest with you, you don't want CJ throwing 75 balls a game, man. You
No.
don't 50. You don't want that.
No, you want between 30, 20, 25 to 30 pass attempts a game.
Not more than
Is
35.
ideal.
That's the max you want.
Right.
You
And
know,
so go ahead, Jules.
you know what's crazy is that we're having arguments about wide receiver 5.
Doesn't it feel good?
We're so
Tight end
far
3 or
we are
fullback 2.
so far removed from last year's conversation. Is Nico number one? 2 years ago, do we have a quarterback? 3 years ago, who's our O line gonna be? 5 years ago, what we doing in this situation? We're in such a great state of the Texans that we're having discussions, not arguments, discussions about a wide receiver 5 or 6 who we got for a 6 or 7 round pick was about to be cut.
Mm-hmm. So
We that's where we are right now. So if you're not on board with the way this Texan is built for the past 3 4 years, I don't know what you're waiting for, but we here right now. Now they just got to prove on the field. That's
right.
it. All right, now it's just going to be a talk about how great this team can be. How can we improve? What is so going to do? All right, now it's talk. But on the field, on paper, they top notch on paper.
Yeah. I do want to address the conversation Barrett is having in the chat. He's talking about the offense underachieved last year. How many complete games did we have? We weren't good in the red zone. Larry addressed that part. I agree about the red zone part. Yes, the offense did underachieve. The offense underachieved last year because we didn't have a run game. One, because we had a decimated offensive line, and two, Damian Pierce regressed because he still trying to learn the system, and we didn't implement Devin Singletary until week 10
Right.
of the
And
season.
you had a rookie
So
OC.
and you had and as well, you had inconsistencies at the offensive coordinator position as well. And then you go to Barrett again. He said CJ threw for 4,200 yards and restricted offense through 15 games as a rookie. I don't know why you guys expect him to step back.
Sophomore slump. That's what folks want to
Yeah,
tell
no,
us.
I don't
Who
think so.
who
This is the
expect
thing.
him to
I'm
step
not.
back?
Yeah, I don't. So this is the thing. I don't think anybody's saying he's going to take a step back.
No.
Other than Titans fans.
Yeah, other than fans outside of people that's hating on the Texans are gonna say yeah he's gonna take a step back, but the conversation is that yes CJ threw for 4,200 yards in really a pass first offense because we couldn't run the football.
Right.
We were put in situations where it was 3rd and long a lot of the time. It was 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 plus a multitude of times where you were forced to throw the football. We're talking about in the sense of the offense is going to be more balanced, should be more balanced this year with a healthy offensive line, Joe Mixon running the football. So they're, not saying CJ's going to throw for more than 4,200 yards. CJ's going to throw potentially for 5,000. He was on pace to throw for 5,000 yards, but I don't think it's realistic in the sense that he's going to throw for like 55 or 5,600 yards or some crazy shit like that. Like if that's the case, then we scoring 35, 40 points a game. We blowing everybody out, and it ain't gonna be too many close games.
Where do I sign up for that?
Well, I
take that.
I just think at its core, I honestly think it's not. If anybody is thinking that, I'm thinking CJ is going to take a step back. I'm nowhere even near that. My whole point is that with the philosophy that DeMeco has in terms of how he wants the game to transition throughout a game, you can see what his thought process is just by what he's done on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to be able to win the games, and we know that it's about scoring in the National Football League, but it's also about you having to stop these dudes you're going to be facing at quarterback too. So because they get the balls a certain amount of time also, so then at that point, what you're banking on the fact that you got enough talent around CJ to outscore people, and you got enough defense to stop people on the other side of it. CJ's regression is not going to even be an issue if that's what people are thinking, because again, he's going to continue to develop through this system, just like Mahomes and all these other boys and did in their system, to the point where he's going to master the system and be able to run it on the way that he runs it without having so much to have to ask for permission to do stuff.
And what's crazy is that the things that he's going to improve on is not going to be necessarily truly like obvious to the average or regular person. He's going to be light years more efficient. The completion percentage is going to skyrocket. I think he threw for right under 60% last year. I expect him to throw for between 65 to 68%, have a 65 to 68 completion percentage this year. I expect his touchdowns I do expect his interceptions to go up because he only threw 5 last year. So I don't expect double digits, but I do expect a little bit more. Because we are going to throw the ball. You don't bring Stephon Diggs and throw the ball less. So you're gonna throw the ball more, but I think, like I said again, with the more balanced offense, CJ's his opportunities are going to be even greater and easier to decipher.
Well, Killer Cow had a good point. It wasn't a regression. It was the defensive coordinators have film on you, and that does slow down your progress and your progression going forward, because the things that you got away with last year and the hesitations and the hitches, you're not gonna be able to get away with this year because people are reading your body language, they're reading your natural
tendencies.
motion, your tendencies. So now I'm not saying he'll regress, but maybe the first couple games until he reacts to what they react to him. It might be a couple rough games for the first couple games.
Well, so this to my counter to that point, which is a valid point. My counter to that is, how do you counter that situation? Why did he have those hitches? Why did he have those hesitations? why did he have all of those, seemingly issues that he got away with last year, is because he had an injured offensive line. He didn't have a run game. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't have weapons because after what was it, week 11 or 12 when Tank got hurt, you didn't have a Tank Dell the second half of the season. Nico Collins was in and out of the lineup. Like Nico missed 2 or 3 games last year.
Correct.
And so Dalton Schultz, I think, missed the game, or I think he missed a game or two. So you didn't have your full, you know, not wardrobe, but you didn't have your full clip of weapons, and you actually added onto that clip tenfold, and then you have players who saw time but were kind of minimized in the offense with John Mitchell, Xavier Hutchinson. Those guys are going to get magnified this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so now the hesitation shouldn't be there because like you said, we arguing about wide receiver 5 and 4 and 6. If CJ gets to that, if they locking down all those, and you still got a John Mitchell, you still got Xavier Hutchinson, you still got a Schultz, you still got a Stover that can make plays with the football, and those are your 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th option,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be successful still.
Right.
You're going
Mhm.
that's the counter to it.
Right.
Yeah, and how is he gonna have, understand it's a new season and they do a film on him? I mean, they got film on everybody though. Um, but how is he gonna regress against Indianapolis, Chicago, and Minnesota? Because, I if we want to, he could throw for over 400 yards each of those games.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand how he would take a step back because, I mean, you look at any quarterback in the league, they got film on, but Tom Brady never regressed. Aaron Rodgers, part of that injury, he never regressed. I think we're going to see C.J. Stroud enter that conversation pretty soon.
No, no, no. Even the great quarterbacks had rough years their first or second, third year after they had success because when the defense coordinator don't have a lot of film on you, they can't read your keys. So it's that third year is when those quarterbacks who are going to be great, they are reacting to what defense did 2 years, and those kind of players that set you apart from the great ones who can adjust to readjustments.
Well,
So when you have film, because you have to give these defense coordinators credit because they're brilliant at their job. They're there for a reason. They watch film just like we watch film. We watch all 22 and say, oh, CJ should almost intercept him because this they do the same thing and they know how to read the plays.
Mm-hmm.
So the word regression or take a step back may be a little too strong because we all believe in CJ,
I
but
don't even know how that word entered into the conversation because I mean I know I ain't never said nothing about him regressing at all, and I just think that with another year under Slowick and Gerard, man, I mean, and then with the added weapons that he's having at wide receiver, tight end, and running back, I just think the progression is still the arrow still going to be pointing up. I'm just saying that I understand how football is played, and
correct,
just going out there and just thinking that you just going to go to the spread like they do in college football in the National Football League. That is just not the reality that defensive coaches allow. It's just not.
correct.
Yeah, so just very clarifying what he was talking about. He said he wasn't referring to a sophomore slump. He was talking about guys thinking his production would drop and the wide receivers can't get 3,000. I think he was talking about the conversation about Nico, Tank, and Stephon Diggs all being 1,000-yard receivers, which is still possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the counterpoint that we were making with that is not saying that CJ's production is going to drop, because I do think he's going to throw for 5,000 yards, and I do think it's truly possible that we get all 3 receivers having over 1,000 yards. It's the others. It's expecting Skoranek to have 400 yards. It's expecting, you know, Schultz to have 6, 7, 800 yards. Is expecting Stover to have 400 or 500 yards. So like then you still have John Mitchell. Then you still have, Xavier Hutchinson is gonna get touches. Like that was my point, was that the math don't math when it comes down to it, when it's strictly numbers based, when you're talking about that. But I do think the offense itself will improve greatly, especially in the passing game. The passing game will be light years better than what it is because you have the weapons to do a lot more different things. And the run game will help out, and the passing game out of the backfield will be improved with Joe Mixon, with a Gerard Jordan, with all of these guys, that we brought in. Hell, even Damian Pierce.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I agree with Barrett and the whole to the point that Show gonna have to trust CJ from the get go.
oh yeah,
Because some of the plays that they would call that cost a first down or a touchdown, because he was not trying to put too much on the young man's shoulder at first. At this point, I think Barrett said, the wheels are off. There ain't no more training wheels. It's go time. So we're gonna see what Showick has and how he improved on his play calling ability. Because there's some plays you kind of scratch your head a little bit, but then some plays were just magical. And you want to see that. You like Chris always said, the play calls he calls would work in this situation of some of this. Now it's all kind of cleaned up. You got better timing and you got better receivers. So the plays that he was calling and it kind of just missed a little bit should be better this go around this season.
the
Well,
point, the
well,
point.
the big thing that all this matters if you're watching what they're doing again. They're building up enough depth so that there isn't a fall off from their ones to their twos in case, like when Tank went down, we didn't have nobody. We were scrambling to find somebody to play his whether it was in the slot or to get outside. And what they're doing is they're just building enough depth in their depth chart. So especially look at the defensive line. I mean, they got enough bodies over there that they're going to be able to rotate that defensive line damn near the whole game how they want to. They weren't able to do that a lot last year when dudes went down. So when what's your boy that went to Minnesota 52
Bernard,
Bernard.
when Bernard went down. So then now you're bringing Jerry Hughes in and Gary Barnett. You're trying to get them to give you that same kind of production, and it wasn't there. This time, your ass gonna be having just pick and choose from dudes that you can plug in at defensive end or move inside. So I just think that what they're doing is that they're building a full complement of a team that their first and second units, depth wise, are interchangeable, man. But that's just my opinion on it. I don't think that one thing I don't lose any sleep over is whether or not CJ Stroud is going to have difficulties dealing with whatever defenses he sees. Because one thing that he has shown us is that he believes in attacking. He believes in knowing where his reads are and all that other stuff. We seen some of the stuff he did last season as a rookie, so that's gonna only grow as he mature in his NFL experience and as he matures in whatever this playbook that Bobby's putting together over there. Because obviously it's gonna be he's gonna be adding a whole bunch of stuff to it now because he got no shit to deal with.
Right, and so to that point, the pressure will be on this season. But my concern is not the pressure that CJ bears or even the pressure that D'Amico bears. My concern is the pressure that Bobby Slowick is going to bear.
Yeah.
You are sitting here with a Gordon Ramsay kitchen with all of the finest vegetables and meats and fresh cut farm to table, all of that shit, everything you can think of.
Best
And if your
spices.
ass
Yeah, they got
spices,
spices too.
all of that, everything, a full pantry kitchen, everything you on the God's green earth that you can cook with, the finest of the finest, and your ass sit up here and make a cup of goddamn ramen noodles, it's gonna be a fucking problem. So
Nah,
it
that
is
ain't that ain't
it
for that.
is
That
I
ain't
think
gonna
it's gonna
happen
happen.
because you
I
know
think
what his ambition is to be head coach
he
his
want to be
damn
head
self.
coach.
and so
He's pushing
and
for
that's
head coach.
right, and that goes back to the pressure I see, and I think Stresson's made a point is that being conservative. Bobby Slowick was very conservative last year. And now if we have this type of offense where we're and the type of defense that we're potentially going to have, and you're talking about our offense and our team being in the lead, and not just in the lead by 3 points or 7 points, we're talking about 2 touchdown, 3 touchdown lead. How does Bobby Slowick now call his offense? Is it going back to the old Bill O'Brien run, pass? Or are we doing the same, conservative bullshit? Or will we just put our fucking foot on their neck and choke them and stomp them out?
Or what if Bobby Slook was unable to call certain plays because he didn't have the personnel last year? What if he had more up his sleeve to call and he had to pull back and say, "Oh, I got a rookie quarterback. Oh,
Mhm.
I got a rookie wide receiver. They're not going to know what this means yet.
Mhm.
Oh,
I've
I
got
got
this
Robert
place.
Woods out here.
I've got Robert Woods running around the corner. I've got Damon Pierce coming out of the backfield. I can't call this play." And to that point, he goes out and he finds a Ben Skoranek. And for him to go out and look for a guy who's not touted by 32 NFL teams as the next wide receiver, but in his mind, he can utilize that type of player. And for him to bring him into this team, he's not going to need 400 yards out of him. He's going to use him in a way that dismantles defenses, that
Mhm.
maybe pulls other guys open, that maybe gives a playbook niche within your playbook to where you can fool a defense just by having this guy go in motion out of the backfield. And
Mhm.
so I think Slowick is in prime position. You got to imagine he's only done it for 1 year, and to do what he did last year with rookies everywhere around him who had to learn terminology. He's coming into this season. He's taught them the terminology. He's given them a playbook. He's told them the plays. I guarantee you, there's at least 45 to 55 plays in his playbook that he was unable to call last year. That he had to say, "Damn, these guys don't know what the fuck this means yet."
Hey,
You
he
know,
did call it. He did call it playing the playoff game and got niggas. I'm sorry,
yeah,
got
yeah.
people got people upset and
The
in
reverse
arms, up
play,
in arms behind that damn gadget play.
the Gabbage play, and if you looked at the gadget play, I was one of the guys that said, "Man, that shit would have worked if the guy
Mhm.
would have held his block, would have got his block off." But how many times did he not call a play like this? So moving forward, I have every ounce of faith in Slowick, just like I do with CJ Stroud, because those guys were going hand in hand. Jared Johnson, CJ Stroud. I mean, neither one of them guys did it together. They couldn't have done it without CJ. If CJ couldn't have done it without that playbook that Skronik had. I mean,
Right,
that Slowick had. So
right.
moving forward, I think we only get better in those positions. In
Mhm.
that quarterback room, in that offensive playbook room, we only get better. I mean, you're adding players that he's never had a Joe Mixon. Well, he's had one in San Fran, but here last year he didn't have a Joe Mixon. Somebody that can knock the top off. Somebody
Mhm.
that can bust through the linebackers and gain you 8-9 yards instead of 3-4 yards. So you got
Or Jaward, didn't have a Jaward, didn't
Yeah.
have the Stover because
Didn't have
yes.
a dig. Didn't have a
Look,
digs.
last year it was goddamn Andrew Beck playing tight end too.
Andrew
right,
Luck.
Like
Dang.
right,
with Brevin Jordan disappearing for most of the season and
right.
Tegan Quitoriano in the training room his whole career. Like
Yeah.
that was our tight end too. So I'm like, you talking about
Noah Brown.
Noah
Look what he
Brown.
made
But
Noah
hey,
Brown
Noah
look
Brown
like.
had a couple, had 2 or 3 games that
Look,
Yeah, he made Noah Brown
hey,
look nice.
a squirrel gonna catch that nut one time.
Okay, but guess what?
Exactly,
One of but hey, them
exactly.
three. Hold up, them 3 nuts got us in the playoffs because we needed
Hey,
every last one of those games to get
Well,
in.
yeah, you
but
get three
but
nuts, you have a
again, now you had upgraded all of that.
Yeah,
Right.
Now you had upgraded all that. So now that means by them doing what they've done, they forced Slowick to have to upgrade his. So
right,
and so I don't see that being an issue at all because again, you know they see what they see what they're gonna be facing this season in terms of the
but
kind.
they act like getting in. They act like motherfuckers act like getting Diggs or getting who else we picked up this year or getting Mixon is a problem. They act like that's a problem for OC. When an OC gets that,
Chris,
huh?
Who was they?
what's the famous line? If that's a problem, that's a good damn problem to have.
It's a
Like,
good damn problem to have because it's a toy. It's a new toy. It's actually a new toy for Slowick has probably drawn up 25 new plays for Diggs. He's probably drawn up 30 new plays for Mixon. He's probably, this scorer kid came in. He's got, oh man, look what I'm gonna do with this. I'm gonna send him in motion. I'm gonna set him in the backfield at first. It's gonna it's gonna look like a double tight end. And then when they're in tight with the double tight ends, they're gonna be in the 4-3. And then they just don't know. I can send him out in motion and he becomes a wide receiver. Now the defense is out of position. It's gonna eat their ass up, all the shit that he's gonna be able to do.
yeah.
Now to speak on that, when you were saying about slow, preparing, in the presser when they came into OTAs, when Dalton Schultz spoke, one of the things he mentioned was, which means Bobby had to have been listening, was with the shortening of the terminology. So obviously, CJ, whoever mentioned it. So the fact you are listening, because if you are changing a little bit of the verbiage or if you're shortening it to make it so it can run faster, I don't see why he will not make adjustments as games go on. I mean, obviously, when you come out your first couple games, I don't care who it is, even the defending champs, everybody looks a little, sloppy because they didn't really play in preseason. So it may look a little, but I expect actually week 2 when the Bears come here, I expect for us to, do our thing for that first home game. But I think by week 4, we should be clicking.
4.
I said, no, yes.
No.
No,
preseason.
No, I said clicking. No, I didn't. When I say clicking, I'm saying is that it's just smooth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying we won't win games.
You think it's gonna be? You think it's gonna be week 1?
Week 1.
So
Yeah.
let me say.
So we have not had Nico against the Colts.
Yes.
Repeat that.
I think we come out
just for clarification, this question was asked to D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio in the town hall about how much our CJ Stroud and Diggs and Nico and Tank and Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson, how much of these guys going to play? And the answer was he almost look. He sounded like Liam Nielsen on Taken and said, "Good luck."
Because the guy was like, "Can we make sure we see a little bit of CJ in them? The Hall of Fame game." And
Nope.
he's like, don't look for that. No.
And so you're not going. And he emphasized that the fact that we have 4 preseason games gives them an opportunity to see the younger guys play.
That's what they're gonna do.
And you're gonna see a lot of these rookies. Your boy Solomon Byrd. We're gonna see a hell of a lot of him. We get Jared Wayne. Jawar Jordan gonna get hella 5 carries.
I got Jawar getting 125 yards plus in the week 1.
Okay.
And that's why I basically give my preseason tickets away, man, because it make no sense, going, because that they over there trying to figure out who's gonna be able to help them, and that's all these games are gonna be used for. Because come week 1 in Indy, they gonna be looking to be firing on all cylinders with them boys that are they real horses up front, man. Mm-hmm. And again, we can beat it until the drums come home. I need Juice Scruggs and Kenyon Green to lock that shit down, and then everything else, all the other bullets in the gun, I'm cool with. I just need that to be locked down.
Yeah, speaking of that, man, I'm
But
gonna
Larry,
move on to.
you can give me the tickets to the preseason game. I'll go. You gonna give me
I,
that?
I got you,
Hey,
Juice.
hey, I
I,
bought I
I,
bought DJ selling his for $200 for the two preseason games. But what I want to move on to the last point. Larry brought up King Green, Juice Scruggs. So I got a list of players right there. Y'all see it on the screen. John Mechie, Jalen Petrie, Damian Pierce, Kenyon Green, and I want to add Henry Noah.
Can you go me
Um,
by his real name, sir?
Toto.
Yeah, at least give him his real name.
Put some respect on his name.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't like us having Foster's time like
Toto,
Kenya, so come on. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we did.
Toto,
We didn't give Green a bad nickname.
he
May
ain't had one.
29th, AD uses his full name.
Come on,
Um,
Ray.
so all of those players that I just named, including Henry Toto,
There you go.
um,
All right.
all of those players have been polarizing topics amongst the Texans fan base between the last 2 years and on. Damian Pierce, because of his regression in year two, has been polarizing. John Mechie, our boy Chris Roy aided on to that. John Mechie polarizing topic. Jalen Petrie has been a polarizing topic. Larry's gotten in many arguments about Jalen Petrie. Of course, as one of the very, very few Kenyon Green supporters, I've had to go to war
Stan.
for Kenyon Green. Um, and so look, I like this comment. He said they about to start calling me
Stan.
Kenyon Lean.
I'm
So
looking.
hey, but so I just want to pose a question to y'all. Which one of these players, and you can give a reason behind it, why you think those players will have major comebacks this upcoming season?
I will say John Mechie. Your first full off season that you're to participate in. You're fully healthy. It's been 2+ years for the knee. It's been more than a year and a half or so uh, finishing cancer treatment. And just looking at body wise, he just looks stronger. He looks quicker. Um, just watching, the clips that CJ and them posted, when they was practicing, and then watching I'm like Coach D and so forth. I just think he has the opportunity to do it because he hasn't forgot how to play. It's just more or less getting his body right. So I think it'll be easier for him because you got 3 dogs and there's no pressure for you to be number 3 because you got Tank, you got Nico, and you got Diggs. So you just need to add just something. And that offense is like, oh my gosh, because it's interchangeable. So I think he has the best opportunity to improve based on better O line, a run game. Obviously, like I said, the 3-headed monsters and the quarterback.
Well, y'all know who I think bouncing back. So, and I can tell you after they benched him last season for that game, the Texans feel way different about Jalen Petrie than the fans out on these streets feel about Jalen Petrie. So they understand that he was out of position and was missing tackles or whatever, and they gonna clean that up. And just based on his history, that's who I'm thinking bouncing back because he's gonna be able to play in the box more because they got linebackers that can cover and got range, and hopefully them boys at on the back end, the DBs or whatever, are gonna be able to hold up. So I think it's JP all day long, man. But I'm biased, man.
Mike, go ahead for Hank.
God damn.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a chance that Toto another year in the system. If anybody can coach up linebackers, it's D'Amico Ryans. But I'm going to go with the first two players mentioned here. John Mechie, my boy. There's a reason I had the Texans take him in every mock draft that year. Those skills, like Swan alluded to, they're still there, and you see the quickness. You see, like, he's getting his feet under him. People defend Kenyon Green, and that's fine. And I really hope he does break out this year, and I think he can. But John Mechie had cancer, and it takes a while. We've seen this with whether it was Andre Howell or Quesenberry or a number of other players. We had Devon Steele. Like, it takes a while for them to fully recover. I think we're finally starting to see him fully recover. CJ Stroud has been praising him relentlessly. So I definitely think he can jump Noah Brown this year and become that reliable, productive wide receiver 4. But also Jalen Petrie. I think we're going to put him in a position to succeed a lot better this year. I don't know how much more Jimmy Ward has left, but he assuming he can stay healthy, he'll play a decent amount of snaps. And we got Bullock back there too. So, we can run those single high safeties and let Petrie be the nickel, let him roam the field like Tyrann Mathieu used to in the Texas defense. So I think we can see a big bounce back season for Petrie.
Mike, you mentioned everybody. You didn't mention one person. You mentioned the whole goddamn squad.
I didn't mention Pierce.
Oh, so Pierce done. I mean, sorry.
See, you can't have that negativity, Jules.
Want to put 20 on it?
Chris, you want to talk? You want to speak on Damian Pierce or anyone specific?
No, not Damian Pierce. I would not like to speak on that young brother. Although I think he is probably one of the coolest cats in that locker room.
Yeah.
He's just an admirable character, a good guy, man, a great person. And you know what? I'm gonna backtrack on that a little bit because every now and then you need somebody to criticize you, but then you also need them to tell you, okay, the sky's the limit. You never know what could happen. Maybe he saw what his faults were. Maybe he's worked on his vision a little bit. Who knows? Maybe he got some contacts put in.
Yeah.
Just as simple as that. Maybe he's worked on his footwork. He looked quicker when the film that I seen when he's running out of the backfield. That was against air. I will say that. But he looks quicker. Can he make those decisions? He could. Can he run the ball the way we need him to run it? He could.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The thing that we all know are also saying is we need him to be an improved player.
Yeah.
Because yes, Gerard Jordan, my guy, I think will be the RB number 2 by the end of the year. But at the beginning of the year, we do need a veteran that can come in and take some spells away from Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
And this would be the perfect guy. He's been there 2 years. He runs hard, man. Regardless of what you want to say about can he see the hole? Is he a zone player? What kind of running back he is? He runs hard as fuck. He's gonna give you 100% of everything he has. So I'm pulling for him. I think he can do what it is we need him to do. John Mechie, I was on John Mechie's neck for a minute. And the only reason I was on his neck was because I didn't want to go into the third this year here saying we're going to give him next year too. If this is the year, y'all say this is the year, I grew an impatience because not so much of Mechie and who he is, because I think he's another guy who is just an honest, hardworking young man who's fought through an extremely life-changing situation. And we should never, ridicule or make fun of that, me especially. But I always was under the thinking of we're building for a championship. We're trying to make a championship run. Can we sit here for 2 years and have another guy sitting on the shelf and not be able to use him on the field because we're allowing him extra years to rehab for something that was off the field? If anybody we should let get that chance is him, but I just don't want to waste a roster spot this year, next year, and his body is just would not recover. And I might be wrong, and I agree. I probably was wrong for that, not having the patience. But I'm backing him up. I think Mechie can do it. I've been watching film on him too during the OTAs, and he's moving a lot better. And when Swan said earlier, by week 4, week 3, we should be hitting our legs and we should be looking smooth and everything should be timing, should be down. I kind of see what she's saying, but I'm watching film, man. These guys are moving faster and quicker than I've ever seen them move. I haven't been to one practice, but I've watched them on them tapes. The linebackers, the D linemen, the wide receivers, they're moving like in championship form. It's like they know where they're going. They know where they're supposed to be. They know what routes to run. They know what coverages to make. They're talking to each other. And just their movement is on another level that we haven't seen in a while. So I'm pulling for all them guys. Jalen Petrie, y'all know I was a Brees Hall guy. Y'all know I thought we should have picked up Brees Hall in this second round. We got jumped by the Jets for him. But Godspeed, you know what I'm saying? We picked up Jalen Petrie and everybody thought that he was the world. He did great that first year, same with Damon Pierce. Can he recover from these last 2 years? Can he keep his eyes out the backfield? I think he can. I'm talking too long, so yeah, that's my guy. John,
You good, man. But I think it just goes back to these guys are going to be put in situations like D'Amico, and I think he said it last night, but I know I've seen him say it at some of his press conference. Everybody got to compete. Right. Everybody got to compete. So that's going to make Damon Pierce have to play better. Petrie, we used to talk about this when they would recruit dudes for your position. That make when you're going out to college or whatever. Every year they recruiting somebody to replace your ass. So that make you have to be able to push your game to the next level. So it ain't no different than in the pros, man, because competition is what D'Amico is all about. And so you're gonna see all them boys having to compete. Kenyon Green, Jalen, all of them. So it's just a matter of once camp fires up, man, keeping everybody healthy. But it's gonna be all the stuff we don't get to see when we go over there to camp that they're gonna be doing in the bubble. You're gonna be able to see when they come out to play ball how D'Amico has pushed that camp and pushed them boys to compete.
Well, the thing too, Larry, man, you these guys have just unlimited access to hear what everybody has to say about them.
Right.
From the national ESPN news to Fox to all these outsiders and even to our little sorry ass, right? Excuse me.
Right.
But even to the local guys.
Why we gotta be sorry asses?
But I'm just saying, when you're looking at it like a player, like an NFL player, you're gonna say, man, I know this little motherfucker didn't just say what he said about me. You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck is he holding a little bitty baby microphone over there, and he talking about how I need to hurry up and come back? Does he know I just beat cancer? Does he know I just did, this motherfucker? And so I hope that these guys use that as motivation and say, I'm finna show these motherfuckers, I'm finna show the whole world, man. And I know D'Amico knows how to push those buttons. Because when he made that comment, when they won that game, and he said, we just went out there and beat a really good team. But guess what? And when he said, guess what? They already knew what he was gonna say.
Yeah.
Because he already told them, you're a fucking good team too. You motherfuckers in this room are ready to be the next level type dudes that we need to be. And they bought into that shit. And so when we talk our talk over here on the great H-Town Rundown, and by the way, guys, there's 100, 200, 300, 400 people in here. Hit like and subscribe. Hit share, man. It only takes you a half a second to do it. Hit this shit, share it.
Get it up. Y'all see it. Follow everybody at the bottom. Like, share, subscribe. We are only 38 subscribers away from 500 subscribers.
We really appreciate it, man, because we try to get and we're growing too. you'll start seeing faces around here that you haven't seen before. But
Jules, I want to see if Jules has a player that he want to talk about. If not, I'm gonna go on my King Green rant and we're gonna close this episode out.
Yeah, it's long enough.
I'll make it quick because the player I've been dogging out for a minute and I'm still surprised on the roster. I'm gonna give it to Jimmy Ward. I think with the pass rush that we should be generating, I think Jim Ward, if he's healthy, he should play better, and I think that could be a big difference in that secondary.
So I'm pissed off at all 5 of y'all motherfuckers. They didn't say not one thing. Mike barely grazed over Kenyon Green.
What we supposed to say?
But we knew you were talking about him.
Green
That's what I talking about. We knew you
is
were
the
talking about.
impact player that we all been waiting on.
We have.
We have. Because if we haven't, we wouldn't have been talking about him for the last 2 years, right, Swan?
We just wanted to.
We all been waiting on him.
We wanted to save him for you, man. That's how we know what you finna do.
Kenyon Green has put in the work. Kenyon Green has been doing a lot of things behind the scenes that a lot of us, regular people aren't privy to. And he's been doing a lot of, I would say, hellified work to get himself prepared and ready. You've all seen the physical part, but he's also done the mental work as well. I don't know. Let me say this, that the mental torture that he probably went through, that he did go through as being a Houston kid and coming home and being hurt and playing bad and getting all the most ruthless criticisms from the radio, from national pundits, from especially the people in Houston. That takes a lot of mental fortitude, and for him to do the work this offseason and put those demons behind him as well, we will see a brand new Kenyon Green, and we will solidify, like Larry said, he wanted Juice Scruggs and Kenyon Green to solidify that offensive line. That's what they're going to do because, honestly, let's be real. Kenyon Green and Juice Scruggs are the only true run-blocking offensive linemen on the starting offensive line. Yep. So if you want the run game to improve, yes, we need Kenyon Green out there. I don't want to hear nothing about Jared Patterson. I don't want to hear shit about Kendrick Green. I don't want to hear none of that. Nah. Kenyon Green's strong suit is run blocking.
Run blocking. Exactly.
His problem never was blocking in the run game. His problem was pass protection. I think he'll clean that up, and he's gonna make a major comeback. He's my player to watch.
Do Kenyon got a middle name?
And what C. Ross said about what the players hear and things like that, they, as much as they try to block out the noise or whatever,
they hear that shit.
They move around this city, or they got people that move around this city that know everybody is fired up about that squad over there, man. And whatever noise that we talking because we want them to be good, and hopefully that motivates them to shut us up. I don't have a problem with it because that just means once I get quiet, that means I just have to start talking again when some other shit jump off. I just want you to go out there and just, like I say, Kenyon Green is gonna be the one. I'm down with it, man, because when he good, then that means we good.
We straight. Yeah.
So
we straight.
I just.
Hey, Swan, be quiet. Hey, stop talking.
I got this song playing in the background because right now the Houston Texans about to be that $1 million baby, man. So shout out to everybody in the chat, man. It's been going crazy. Shout out Brandon,
DJ
Amazing, Blue Boy Shine, Killer Cal, Barrett, Leo G.
DJ, I heard you was sitting on what's name lap today.
Hey, shout out Larry.
Stressins.
Yeah, Stressins, Houston Stressins, Luke Johnson, Larry Payton, Big Steve,
Blue Boy Shine,
on and on, King Foker, all of Yvonne.
I think you got to keep calling him King Flocka.
Right?
It almost feels weird.
Crenshaw was in the building.
It's not Flocka?
No, it's Foker. It's spelled.
Oh, yeah, it's Flocka. That's what it started off with.
Mama call him Flock. I'm gonna call him Flock.
Yeah.
Elise, man, I mean, it's just been a multitude of people in this chat.
Hey, shout out to my boy Calvin, man.
Killer
His boy
Cam.
Nico got paid today, and he been talking about that boy for months. He been on that bandwagon for years. So congratulations to the family of our boy Killer Cal. Shout out to you, man.
Yeah, shout out to Killer Cal and Nico Collins. But like you said, hey, I ain't gotta represent. I ain't never represent. But nah, this has been another great episode. I want to shout out my co-hosts, C-Roll, Juice, Mike G, special guest Larry and Stafford, and of course Auntie Swan. This has been another great episode of the H-Town Rundown. This is your boy AD, and we will see y'all next week with a very, very, very special episode. So we want to thank all of y'all, man. And we will see y'all.
Hey Cal, if you need a team podcast, we your podcast, man. Sign us up. We take checks.
After all that, man, let's go ahead and we'll see y'all on the next episode, man. Peace.
Bye.